Have you ever wasted a day doing nothing and told yourself, "It's okay, I'll do it tomorrow"? But what if one day? There is no tomorrow. What if the seconds you waste today become the regrets you carry forever? This is a story of a boy and an old man with a quiet little shop. A story that shows how time doesn't punish you. It teaches you. And by the end, you'll see why every second truly matters. In a small, peaceful Indian town, hidden between noisy markets and honking bikes, stood a tiny shop with an old wooden sign that said, Ravi S. Watch Repair, since 1962. Inside, the shop smelled of oil, metal, and quiet patience. Old clocks ticked softly on every wall. And behind a wooden desk sat Ravi, a man in his late 60s with silver hair and gentle eyes. His hands moved slowly, carefully, like poetry in motion. He didn't rush, he didn't speak much, he just worked, fixing time, one tick at a time. While the world outside ran fast, Ravi stayed still, calm and unbothered. He opened his shop every morning at 9 and closed it at sunset. Never early, never late. People often said, Ravi may be slow, but his work never fails. He was a man who believed that everything, even life, has its own rhythm. One hot afternoon, a teenage boy walked into the shop. His name was Aryan, 17 years old, full of attitude. Earphones in, chewing gum, phone in hand. He looked around and laughed. "Uncle, are you really still fixing these old watches? Who even wears them anymore? Everyone uses phones now." Ravi smiled softly and kept working. Aryan rolled his eyes. "You're wasting your time, Uncle. It takes you days to fix one watch, don't you know? Time is money." That's when Ravi finally looked up. He met the boy's eyes and said gently, "Then why are you wasting both by standing here?" Aryan froze for a second. He didn't understand what the old man meant. So he scoffed, muttered, "Old-fashioned," and walked out. To him, Ravi was just a slow man stuck in the past. Too old, too quiet, too boring for the fast world ahead. Time moved on, as it always does. Aryan left the town, chasing dreams in the big city. The boy who once mocked time now lived by the clock. Alarms, meetings, deadlines, traffic, emails. He spoke fast, walked fast, lived fast. Every minute of his life was planned and monetized. And yes, he made money. A lot of it. Luxury apartment, expensive car, designer watch. But something else kept slipping away. His peace, his joy, his time. He skipped birthdays, ignored friends, and often missed calls from his parents. Every time he felt tired, he told himself, "Just a few more years. Then I'll rest." But those few more years never came. One evening, after almost 15 years, Aryan returned to his hometown. The streets looked smaller now, quieter. The same town, but different eyes. As he walked down a familiar lane, his gaze stopped at a weathered wooden sign. Ravi S. Watch Repair, since 1962. Something in him paused. The shop still stood. Same dusty shelves, same ticking clocks. But the chair behind the desk was empty. He stepped inside. A young man, maybe in his 20s, sat at the workbench. "Are you here for a repair?" he asked kindly. Aryan nodded, then looked around. "Where's the old man who used to run this shop?" The young man smiled sadly. "Grandpa passed away last winter." The words hit Aryan like a stone. He sat down slowly, feeling something heavy in his chest. He placed his expensive wristwatch on the counter and said softly, "It stopped ticking, just like that old man's voice in my head." The young man nodded and took the watch. "Grandpa always said," he murmured, "never rush a repair. Every second has value." Aryan looked around the little shop. The same desk, same shelves, same smell of oil and time. And suddenly, all the years came flooding back. The arrogance, the rush, the chase. He remembered that day when he'd said, "Time is money." Now he realized how wrong he'd been. He had earned plenty of money, but lost time with his parents, lost time to laugh, to live, to love. As the young man worked on the watch, Arian looked at the ticking clocks on the wall. Each second felt like a whisper, reminding him of the life he'd ignored while chasing success. He closed his eyes and whispered, "I thought I was ahead of time, but I was just running from it." When the repair was done, the young man handed him the watch and smiled. Arian smiled faintly, his eyes moist. "Your grandfather once told me something," he said. "Back then, I didn't understand. Now I do." He placed the money on the counter, but before leaving, he whispered, "Time doesn't wait, and it never comes back." That night, Arian sat on a park bench, his phone silent for the first time in years. He didn't scroll through emails, didn't check messages. He just watched the stars. He listened to the sound of crickets. He felt still. He thought of Ravi, the quiet man who fixed watches while the world ran ahead of itself. And for the first time, Arian understood what it meant to value a second. The next morning, he called his parents. He took a walk, cooked breakfast. He even smiled at strangers. He was still the same man, but his pace had changed. He was no longer chasing time. He was living it. My friend, we live in a world that glorifies being busy, but ask yourself, what are you losing while you rush? Time is not money, because money lost can be earned again. But time, once gone, never returns. Don't wait for life to slow you down. Slow yourself down. Call your parents. Take that walk. Watch the sunset without checking the clock. Because in the end, it's not how fast you lived. It's how deeply you felt each moment. Time doesn't teach through words. It teaches through silence and regret. So use it wisely, before it shows you the cost of wasting it. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who's always in a hurry. Because maybe, just maybe, it'll help them pause and realize that every second is a gift. Take care of your time, and it will take care of your life. The Old Watchmaker. The value of every second. Time doesn't wait. Don't waste it.